Big what?
That's a big pod. I made seed crosses, so I'm looking to see which ones took and which ones didn't. That is a huge pod.
Wow, I see it from here.
Man, we just got like the downpour, like of all downpours, and everything looks awesome. It's like my favorite time to come out in the garden after it rains, especially when it's super hot and humid. Look at the size of this. So this is a seedling times weird science. Look at the size of that pod. Got lots of stuff going on.
Should probably warn the audience that we are now shooting in 4K. No more HD.
What? Whoop-de-doo. What does that do?
Well, you know, it kind of magnifies your beauty, so...
Oh man, I hope it doesn't show wrinkles.
No.
I got those this week.
No.
Look at how bad Ruby Spider looks.
Well,
it looks kind of cool, actually. With this,
on.
yeah, I know, but that's usually like super saturated color. And after the heat and then, you know, that downpour.
So the garden tour was a success, huh?
It was. It was. So we had over 100 people. Actually like 119 plus some register. And we had close to 100 people here. And maybe more. I don't even know what the exact number is. I actually have to count them and send the form in. But yeah, so around 100 people showed, which was exciting considering it was the hottest day ever, actually of the year. I think it was like near record, right? For July, which is insane because July is always hot. But yeah, so we need to do an updated perennial garden tour, and we're gonna do it now because it's cool out and everything just got poured on and there's lots of color, and why not?
So would you say this is it? Full bloom, big time?
I think so.
I would too.
Yeah, it's kind of like we're heading for August, so I feel we're not gonna have like the black-eyed Susans like we normally do because, you know, I can't say anything bad about a certain black pug in this household, but he destroyed my patch of yellow black-eyed Susan. So I think this is going to be, I mean, we have some Joe Pye Weed that's still going to bloom, but that's not like a bright color. That's just kind of a good filler plant.
How did he destroy them?
He trampled them.
So
he goes chomping in there looking for a place to do his business, and then he doesn't care. He's a dog. He doesn't know not to do it, but it's annoying. And I holler at him and I just clap my hands at him and he doesn't.
So what are they, brown-eyed Susans now? Or
I'm not answering you. It's not funny. It's actually very upsetting. So anyway, so what else is happening? What else is coming up? So the St. John's wort is still coming up for bloom. We have sedum that's still gonna bloom.
Don't get too fast here.
We have lobelia. Well, we'll do a walkthrough. You want to do a walkthrough?
Sure.
So we'll do a walkthrough. But anyway, I wanted to say what's coming up for fall. So the only things that haven't bloomed in this garden are the sedums, the Joe Pye Weed, the lobelia's just starting. The great blue lobelia has not yet even it's starting to form buds now. So that's going to be coming up. That's it. I don't want this to end. This makes me sad.
That's why we're filming it, so you can relive it over and over again.
And when I have a huge giant snowstorm in like, let's say January, February, and I'm just sick of winter, because usually after the holidays, I'm sick of winter, I will go back and relive this because it's beautiful. It's a beautiful night. It rained. Everything's beautiful, bright, vibrant, because that's my thing. I like vibrant colors. So I took pictures and I posted a picture today of this garden with the cottage garden as a backdrop. And I'm like, man, it was just so busy. But I'm like, is this too much color? Did I overdo it? No. I mean, you can't overdo color, can you? I don't know. Maybe. But that would be my thing. I guess if you're going to make me guilty of one thing, it's like overdoing it and pushing the limits with colors that probably don't belong next to each other. But when it all goes off, I mean, this is just I love it. This makes you smile. It
Looks
makes you
like
smile.
Emma's crayon book, basically.
It's like a one big melted rainbow, and I don't care. Pink is next to red, which shouldn't happen unless it's Valentine's Day, right? I don't know. People will say, don't put this color next to this color. Don't listen to them. And if you can't, and don't play by the rules. If you play by the rules, then this would be like 3 times the size it is now, because I'd have to space it out properly. And I break all the rules with spacing. There's nothing, there's really, other than repeating colors, I don't know that I did follow any rules. But anyway, so let's talk about what's in the garden, because I think this is probably the #1 thing that people wait for, is this tour for the perennial garden. And I'm not sure how we should do this. Maybe I won't talk through it. I'll have you film it, and then I'll put labels up on the screen. So like at the end maybe, so that you guys know exactly what's in here. As long as I know what variety it is, I will do that. But that'll be helpful, right? This garden.
You not talking?
I know. I don't know if I can do that.
Might be helpful.
Would you bet that I would be able to make it through this?
No, I don't understand why you're even wasting time thinking. You're not gonna be yapping your trap throughout this video.
All right, so let's go back here and then work our way around, because back here is just such a mess. But these taller, this is what I put in last fall. I moved them from the cottage garden when I redid it. It has no petals on it, so you don't have to get a close up. This is just the cone. But these are usually, they'll be like 7 feet tall. They're the black-eyed Susan. No, they're Rudbeckias, but they're the giant Rudbeckia maxima. So they have blue foliage, which is one reason that I love it. And then they have the giant cones that you see, and then the yellow petals that come down. So I moved those in the fall. They're a little shorter than they are normally. 1, because they got trampled, and 2, because I moved them. So next year, I fully expect this to be an amazing backdrop to the other side of the garden. So right now, all of this would have these giant yellow flowers that are tall in the back. I'm kind of missing that in the photo. Like, I kind of expected that that's what they would do, but I have to wait another year. If you move something, it can take a little while to reestablish, so you have to be patient.
But yet you'll still blame Jax for it.
Oh yeah, but he made a lot of them lay down, so they didn't grow straight up, and yes, so he is partly to blame. And then, so in the middle, wow, this is really, so this is a very deep garden also. What would you say this is, like 12 feet, maybe 12, 13 feet deep, which is also a key to having really good color pops. If you have a narrow garden, it's hard to really get the depth of color that I have in this garden. You have to have something that's deep. You have to have a pretty wide garden, because it's layers of color. That's how you get like magnificent photos, and that's how you spend lots of money on plants. You just keep plugging them in, and you get deeper gardens equals more vibrant, layered, beautiful photos. And garden and photography go hand in hand. So the back of this is all cone flowers. So some of these are native, but most of these are the Mamma Mia variety. So they have this beautiful, it opens like this salmony color, and this is usually more vibrant. Remember, we're doing this at night after a really obnoxiously hot day. So this whole section, I mean, if I had to guess how many plants were in here, okay, I'd say over 20 plants. Just over 20 plants just in this back section. So if you were gonna like recreate this garden, just this little section of coneflowers, there's over 20 plants.
Now they multiply though, right?
Yeah, you can. The problem is if the seed drops, you're probably gonna get the Echinacea purpurea, like the native one. It's gonna revert back to the pink one, because the hybrids don't give you, they don't grow another hybrid that's the same as the one you took the seed from. So the only real way to get another plant of the same variety when it's a hybrid is to divide it. So if you want to divide them out and space them, yes, you can get a whole mess of the same amount. If you just let the seeds drop, you're going to get a whole bunch of the native, which is fine. Actually, it's like the #1 coneflower that the pollinators and like monarchs and butterflies, they prefer that anyway. So it's not necessarily a terrible thing. I have a viburnum plugged in here. Ooh, with some really wacky bug. Ooh, a spider. I'll leave him alone. So there's a Viburnum. I have Highland Lord Daylilies back here, which also are a little bit faded, but they still look kind of cool. Look, they have stripes. The color literally washed right out of them. I have more cone. Now this is a specific variety, but I don't remember what it is. It's kind of behaving itself. I want to say that this is Purple Emperor coneflower. And then these are Black Truffle. So this is a Lobelia hummingbird magnet. Bright red flowers right now and dark foliage. That's a nice breakup in with the greens when you have a whole bunch of the same background color. That's a good thing to plug in. They do love water. If they don't get a lot of water and it's high heat, they will lay down. They're gonna pout until you give them a drink. They're a little finicky, but they're beautiful. And if you stake them in the very beginning, they look like this beautiful clump instead of this hot mess.
And the hummingbirds love them because we had some baby hummingbirds.
We did. I can't
week.
believe it. I've never seen baby hummingbirds before. And maybe I've seen them zipping around but didn't know they were baby hummingbirds. But we had a whole bunch of babies that would like fly around and they were learning to eat for the first time. And they were sipping, and then they would perch on the little cone flowers to like rest. And they're just like, some of them had really tall, long, skinny heads, and then some of them were short and pudgy. So they were so cute. That was like the highlight of my day.
We should show them some of it.
I am.
Well, I'm going to, because I caught some on video, but you were too much of a camera hog.
Oh my God. So I know Brian and I were fighting over like space in the garden. I wanted to get close-up shots, which you guys probably saw on my Facebook page. And then Brian's like, come on, get out of the way, because he wanted to shoot in 4K hummingbird activity. So I'm sure we will insert some plugs of the babies in there and you'll get to see what they did. But they were so adorable. It was like the most amazing thing to see. And plus I love hummingbirds anyway, so that was like a super bonus.
Yeah, but they weren't humming that well.
No, they were learning. I mean, they're babies. They're babies.
Yeah, well, tough crap.
Bugs.
Can I ask you one question about the cone flowers?
Yeah.
So this centerpiece, is that the seeds?
That's the cone. That is where the seed heads develop after this dies back. And I might be able to show you because I have a few that are probably starting to go to seed. But underneath the cone, when you pull out all of this spiky stuff, that the seed is actually attached to the bottom of that. So when you pull it out, if it made seeds, because some varieties don't, it will be at the end, and they're like little arrowheads. They look like little brown arrowheads. So,
and do you harvest coneflower seeds or not?
I do.
I thought you did.
Yep. I like doing that. And actually sometimes I leave them on there because the birds will eat them throughout the winter. They say throughout the winter, ours don't last that long. It's like in the fall, the birds just come and like ravage the seeds. Like yellow finches love them, blue jays love them. There's a bunch of birds like around here that will actually, they look for that, and they'll sit on the seed head and they'll just peck the heck out of it. It's fun. So you're also feeding the birds. If you don't want to clean up your garden, you can leave them for bird food. I have a variegated sedum. This is Autumn Joy. No, Autumn Charm. That's Autumn Charm. I love the variegation in that. And then right behind that is St. John's Wort. That is a shrub, and it still has a ton of buds coming. I kind of expect, like, every time we do a video, I keep expecting this to be in, like, covered in yellow. And it keeps going off in, like, little tiffs. But I fully expect that to be all yellow at some point. So maybe maybe the peak is coming up. I don't know.
Maybe you should spray some Compound W on it or something.
Yeah, I don't know. Oh, look, there's a pearl crescent in there. See that tiny little butterfly? I don't know if you can get in there with your 4K.
Well, I can't, because then I'll have to step on something and get yelled
Well, anyway, the pearl crescents are the really tiny ones, which I haven't seen many of this year, but now I'm starting to see a couple come out, so that's good. I have daylilies here. Highland Lord is a double. That one, obviously, those are usually bright red without the yellow stripes, but you're looking at the post heat and humidity and rain version.
Looks deformed.
Which is still kind of, I know, it's still kind of fun. Kismet Intense Orange. No, yeah, Intense Orange. This one, Man, the color did not hold up in the heat. Last year, this barely faded at all. This year, it is fading to tomato soup. But it's okay. It's okay. I fully expect, you know, honestly, I fade pretty fast in the heat too, so I can't really blame it. And it's a nice color. I do like the color even after it fades, but I like those intense bright colors. What else do we have? I have lupins in the front, sedum, more cone flowers. Those are Pica Bella. These are the pink ones. And there's a lot that look similar. Like if you notice, really the only difference between these is either the height or the shape of the flower. Like you'll have a lot where the petals are out and shorter, or you'll have ones where the petals are super thick and wide. So they have different characteristics, but the color is generally the same. So I have a lot of repeating color, but their varieties are different. So, you know.
So are these orange cone flowers the same as
that is not
those?
That's actually different. Look at the cones. So here's a good example. That color is very similar now to the Kismet Intense Orange. That one's the Adobe Orange, and this one, look at the cone difference. So you have, I'm going to take one of these off if I can, and I'll show you what the difference is. Oh my god, maybe not. Holy cow, I can't even do it.
Don't break a nail.
Oh my god, I do not have nails. Oh my god, that was terrible. I feel terrible about what I just did.
I know. I don't think we're gonna get the
if you really
full
want to
effect.
know. So see the cone on this? See how it's kind of like, it's conical, right? Well, look at this. Look at the difference in the cone. So while the color is similar, the cones do different. This is kind of like fuzzy, and this will get a little conical, but if you'll see the difference, right?
I see the difference. Yeah. One got manhandled and the other did not.
I know. I have to go cut that off. I actually feel bad. But these are not friendly, by the way. They will like prick you.
So it's best not to, when you cut flowers, try to do it without the proper tools, right?
Yeah. Well, I kind of thought I could just bend that off, but man, those are tough. There's another note I just made for myself. The stems are pretty tough.
So what's the deal with the red ones here in front? Those look pretty wild.
Okay, so there's two different ones here. This one, which by the way is very sloppy. You can see, look, I have a little plant stake here to hold them up. So this one is beautiful, and it is sort of, it will stand on its own until all the flowers bloom. Once the flower heads get big and open and there's a ton of them, they flop. The first rainstorm, they will not stand back up. So that is a double one. I think it's double scoop raspberry. I love the color, I love the shape of the flower. It's sloppy, very shallow rooted. It is a hybrid that is, it's not high on my list. I keep it there. I know I have to stake it. It's a little high maintenance, but it always comes back every year regardless of the short root system on it. It's not a big pollinator plant. Like if I had to get rid of a plant in here, I would get rid of that one. It's like kind of low on my list for a lot of reasons, but it still adds a different type of red there, like a different formed flower. And then right next to it is Baja Burgundy, which you guys know I love. I mean, that is repeated 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 places here. So that one, even when the flower fades, it comes out super bright, and even when it fades to a beautiful bright color. So that one is like one of my top favorites. And it is a pollinator plant. They visit it all the time. What else is in here? There's a sedum in the front that I plugged in. Oh, look. Oh, he's going over to that black truffle. That is like the #1 plant they visit here. The black truffle, the hummingbirds.
Plus they know you're over here.
Yeah, but they could go over there and go to something else, and they go right to the black truffle. So I did put a lavender back in here. You know, all my lavender died. I did plug one plant in there.
It's not doing much.
Well, it's new this year, and it's starting to bloom. It's just now got the bud. So Fiery Meadow Mama, if you guys remember, I raved about this one. Under here, ooh, Pica Bella is a little top heavy. I love this one. It faded, but when it fades to that cool, like multi-tone color. So I do like that one. That one wants to be staked also. So it has really thin leaves, really thin stems, and it gets top heavy. So you kind of, if you want all of these pretty coneflowers, you have to just like shove them in. Like the good thing about this garden, it's so stuffed that a lot of it just leans on each other. So even if it's all shifting and wanting to lay down, it can't because there's a plant right next to it. That is helpful.
How many stakes do you think you have in there?
I just have one there. I have one little trellis in there.
And I think Cleo has 2 stakes in her tummy. Right, Cleo?
Are you helping me give a tour?
Mm.
She's like, what did you say? You have food for me?
Whoa.
But that's it. Other than in the back, I staked a tomato that randomly showed up, but that's it. There's not a lot that's staked in here. And it's usually just those plants that tend to flop either when they're top heavy and the flowers are open, or if they pout and they flop. Let's see, what else is in here? So this is the Kismet Intense Orange again. Ruby Spider Daylilies, which is usually bright red. And then Festivus, I took a division of, and you know it is right next to the Ruby Spiders. Look how faded those are.
Yeah.
That's the reality, folks. By the end of the day, they are pretty whooped. Well, plus the rain.
Now, aren't you supposed to be deadheading these over here?
Yes, but, you know, I can't do it all day. Yeah? I'm over in the garden. Ooh, we have a huge garden spider next to Fatal Attraction. So here's another sort of high maintenance coneflower, but I do love this one because it kind of has a dark and mysterious cone. I don't know if I can even get one of these without getting in there, but it has this like orangey, dark black, red, orange cone, and then the stems are dark on it. So that one is called Fatal Attraction, and it's not a super vigorous bloomer, not a super vigorous multiplier. It just comes up, it does its thing, and it goes to sleep. So, you know, some are more vigorous than others. That one is not very vigorous, but I like the color contrast on that one. In the back, I have a tree peony in the back because I need spring color too in this garden. And then there's Joe Pye Weed, which is the higher one with the clusters of flowers on it right now. If you move forward from that, we have the Mighty Chesnut Orange should have a dark, like brick colored center. That goes crazy. When all those open, that looks amazing. In front of that is Milkshake. This is Milkshake. So it comes out, I kind of like this stage the best. But they come out, see how they have like, looks like a normal coneflower, and then they start to like thicken up and they do this. The petals thicken up, and then that center starts to turn this sort of, I don't know, goldy, rusty color. And then they form these big balls up on top. So that cone gets really wide and fluffy, and it's kind of fun.
Looks like these milkshakes have melted.
Yeah, a little bit. They're not,
Looks like they were made with 2% milk.
possibly. I like them though. I kind of like the shape. I mean, they're a little different than the other ones, and they're white. I like that pop.
They look like daisies on steroids.
Yeah, no, not really. Not to me.
What do you mean?
The one to the right, maybe color-coded white, I believe is the name. Or if I'm getting it wrong, I'll put it on the screen correctly.
So those are 2 different flowers.
Those
right
are 2
there.
different. So see how this one is just a plain old cone flower. There's nothing elaborate in the cone like Milkshake. So yeah. Also, the things I have plugged in here for foliage color are Palace Purple Heucheras. I have more Sedum, and then the Euphorbias, because you guys know I love Bonfire Euphorbia. That is like bright red, and it comes out with yellow flowers in the spring. This is the Nano Mouse Ears Coreopsis. You know what? Wasn't really a fan. This is the flower. It's pretty, but it's a sloppy plant. You can see like right here, all these wiry stems. I don't like that.
Kind
It's
of
here.
messy.
It's messy. They fall over when it rains. I don't know. I'm not huge on that, so that may that may get put somewhere else. I don't know. I have some bluish colored sedum also. That's kind of being staked right now because it just flat out with the rain. And I'm using this cute little bell to try and hide the fact that I had to stake it. I do have some butterfly weed starts in here, more of the Baja Burgundy. And then going back is just native Echinacea. That's the native Purpurea. I have Bleeding Hearts Heliopsis in the back. That's another good foliage plant with bronze and red. You're not filming them. To the left. Bleeding Hearts. There you go.
There's too many. They're all clumped together. Sorry.
So that one is like, that's a really good foliage plant. It does tend to get aphids. So if you're not a fan of aphids, Heliopsis in general, regardless of the variety, gets aphids, but that one, you know, it does not suffer. It doesn't kill the plant. It just kind of makes it look, but if you keep it back far enough, you can't really tell there's aphids on it and it's doing well. It's far enough back where hopefully whatever wants to eat the aphids are back there doing their thing. Then I have some Lobelia. This is just the regular cardinal flower. The Black Truffle had the dark foliage, and this is just the regular green foliage, but the same red flower.
Right there's Lobelia?
Yes, in the back. And then in front of it is the great blue Lobelia, which has a lighter green foliage, and then it's just now starting. It flowers later. It's just now starting to create that bluish purple flower spike. So that's kind of exciting. What else is in here? So more Euphorbia, more cone flowers. What is this? Is that? I can't remember. I added this year, and it's so cute. Look at the flowers. They're so cute. So they're the same color as the cone flowers, but they have a different shape. Obviously, they have a dark eye on them. What the heck is the name of that plant? I don't know. It'll come to me at like 2 in the morning. I'll sit up in bed and be like, ah, I know what it was. Anyway, so that's new this year because I just kind of wanted something a little red in there. I have this variegated mottled hydrangea, which I'm surprised does so well there. It's kind of one of those hydrangeas that doesn't want a ton of sun, but it does get enough, and maybe it's shaded a little bit by the Ninebark in the back. I don't know.
Now, does that Ninebark do anything? Does it flower?
Okay, so it would flower if I didn't prune it every year, but I'm trying to prune it back to give the other Ninebark time to like get up to this size. And that Ninebark hasn't grown but like a foot since I put it in. So I'm a little annoyed with it. I almost want to get another one of these so I can put it there, or get a miniature royal smoke bush, which they have now, and put it there, because it's just, that has disappointed me. It has not grown and filled in like I wanted to. So now it looks like, you know, I'm missing something back there, but I can't beg and plead with a tree if it doesn't want to grow. Just anyway. So what else is in there? Same thing. So color-coded white is there again. So I have 2 of those repeating. The Baja Burgundy, the Ninebark is in the back, a whole big patch of ruby spiders, which I love. Another tree peony behind those, and then just cone flowers, Bleeding Hearts Heliopsis, Black-Eyed Susans, and then the Golden Jubilee Hyssop, which was part of the seed giveaway. That lime-colored foliage with the purple blooms. That went back there. I have more sedums, and then this all just repeats. Festivus, Intense Orange, Catmint in the front. I do want to put a little more purple in here. I have made notes about that. I miss my lavender. My lavender used to be in different places in here, and I lost all of it over winter, even though it had made it 4 years in a row. Just such a wacky winter. But anyway, so I didn't get the purple that I usually have in here, which I love. So I will probably add something purple, probably salvias. And then this was a very popular plant at the garden tour, and I love it. This is Lovely Lolly. That is a fully double cone flower. It's like the most interesting, bizarre thing I've ever seen. So
I know I had several people ask me what it was.
yeah. Oh, what did you tell them? I can only imagine.
I said, it's whatever my wife says it is.
That's a good answer.
Yes.
So that's, it needs to be staked. This is sort of being held up by this little cute trellis, which I had to move to help it stand. And then salsa Sangrita. I have 2 of those. The rain is kind of knocking them down a bit. Some daylilies, and then more sedum. I do have another pinky winky hydrangea back in the corner that matches the one in the cottage garden, but that one is young, but it's about 3.5 feet now, so I expect that should start taking off because next year will be its 3rd year leap. But anyway, so that's kind of an overview of what's in this garden. I do have some liatris also. Those are the bright tall purple spikes. I can usually see them from here. They are tucked way back there. I might move those. I might need those liatris behind the birdhouse. Could you imagine purple? So this is where I start to think, okay, I can't see one of those flowers. It's my favorite, like one of my favorites, and I can't really see it from here. So this is peak bloom, but I don't know where it is. I'd like to take those and put them behind the birdhouse. Could you imagine big, beautiful spikes of purple flowers right now behind the birdhouse? That would just be like perfect. So I might move all those there because you can't really tell there'd be a hole in there anyway, right? So nothing will grow back there, and they're starting to lay down. They get shaded by other things that grow taller. So I kind of have to pull them out and put them where they're going to perform the best. So we'll try them behind the birdhouse. Why not?
Looks like you got a hole there.
Where?
By the birdhouse.
Yeah, and I also pruned that Viburnum in the back. That is a leather leaf Viburnum, and I pruned underneath to give some light to some of the plants here because the sun kind of comes up this way, and in the spring it's so low in the sky that a lot of the stuff in the front doesn't get sun. So I prune it a little bit to let the light in, but what happened was there's a big hole and all the plants are like short back there, so it looked like, sometimes you do good things and you prune, and sometimes it's like, oh, I probably should have left that maybe. I don't know. But anyway, so this is like stock full. It's like chock full of plants. It's chock full of repeated plants, coneflowers mainly, sedums, euphorbias, daylilies, heliopsis, couple shrubs as the backbone of the garden. But every year I do something different to this garden, and every year it comes back with amazing color. So I don't think I'm going to do much other than add purple salvia to this. Salvia will bloom early on in June and then again right now. So I think that's a good plan for this garden. But
now, isn't it true you're going to be on the garden tour again?
yeah, they did ask me to do it again. She sent me a couple of comments that she received by email from people who visited the garden for the first time, who were very happy and just thrilled with the fact that we could answer questions about what was here and how we do things, and yeah, they were just like thrilled. She's like, we would be so grateful if you would do it again, and we're doing our catalog for 2023 and we'd like to have you in it. So that's exciting. So we probably will have another garden tour open days next year. It's fun. It's a lot of work to prep for it, and it's a lot of pressure to keep everything happy until it is time to open your open your property up. But yeah, we had good luck. So
is it going to be the same time?
It'll probably be around the same time. We coordinate with 2 other gardens in the area, so there are a couple gardens within 20 minutes from here, and they kind of corral us all on the same day. That's the plan. So I can choose to do like an early spring one too, but I also don't want to pressure myself into like, I want to be able to enjoy my spring and enjoy my gardens and get them situated and not have to worry about rush. I kind of want to chill. Like right now, I'm enjoying this so much more than a couple weeks prior to the tour, because you kind of just get like, oh, what's going to happen? We had high heat. It was like the worst humidity ever. And you wonder what's going to happen, what's going to open, timing. It's all past me. I'm like, right now, I'm totally chill. I'm just happy to be out here observing things, and had a bang up year for butterflies. Thrilled about that. We've had the most butterflies this year than we've had any year. And I attribute it to brightly colored flowers. I attribute it to the right brightly colored flowers, and to the fact that I've added host plants for all of the butterflies that do visit. So that is definitely helpful, because if the butterflies are coming in, you got to give them a place to lay their babies, and you got to give them something to eat. So if you cover those two bases, it may take a while. It took us a long time to get butterflies here. Remember, we were all excited to see like one, and then I'm like, oh, no monarchs this year. And then I had one monarch like the first year, and I was like, oh, so exciting, I got a monarch. And it was like, and now we have them all over, so it's exciting, and we have the babies. So
you even had some caterpillar lady up here collecting.
She's not a
eggs
caterpillar
or
lady.
something.
She's my friend. Yeah, so my friend Kylie came up, and she was showing me how to actually take the caterpillars. We have a butterfly house that we normally raise the caterpillars in, and we're going to do monarchs this year, because our birds, our nesting birds, who I also love because they're fed well, I'd like to save a few of the monarch caterpillars and let them actually go through their metamorphic process and fly away, and hopefully feel like I'm contributing to you know, helping them along their journey and amidst their decline. So
those caterpillars, the monarchs, those caterpillars are caterpillars this year and then butterflies next year.
No, these will actually go through they will create a chrysalis right now, well, within the next couple weeks, and they will metamorph within like 10 days or so, and then they will come out a butterfly, and we will release them. They migrate. Monarchs migrate.
Why are they coming out so late? They're like,
what do you mean so late?
well,
they can still lay eggs and go through the process. It's not late. It's July. This is prime time. You should be seeing caterpillars and eggs right now. We are in prime time.
So caterpillars got to get cozy, right? Before they start laying eggs, right?
Caterpillars don't lay eggs. The adult butterflies lay the eggs. The monarchs, the male and female monarchs are around. The female lays the egg. I collect the egg, put it in there. The egg hatches. It eats to its heart content. It goes up. It builds a chrysalis. It metamorphs into a butterfly. We release it, and they find a mate and repeat the process.
So the butterflies lay more than eggs. And that's where the monarchs come from.
Wow, I don't know what that sentence was all about, but the butterfly lays the eggs from which the next generation will either continue to migrate, or they will start to migrate back home or back to warmer weather once our seasons start to turn.
That's exactly what I said.
Something like that.
Why are you repeating what I'm telling people?
Yeah, sure.
So is this it? Done with this sun garden tour?
Did I not yap enough?
Well, you did. It's kind of getting dark too, and I don't know how well this 4K is going to work. Yeah. I know it's making you look absolutely fabulous.
I think it's kind of funny that we've had very high-tech phones, like the latest phones out there, that film in HD and 4K, and it literally took a photographer coming to our house on our open days tour to tell us that if you flip the phone sideways and hit the HD, it will change to 4K. So we could have been filming in 4K for like months.
I knew, no, I was well aware of that. I just think,
you are full of it.
You're dangerous in standard definition, honey.
Oh, stop it.
So HD, no, seriously.
No, stop
The
it.
star of the show are the flowers. If we start shooting in 4K, it's like, woof.
Oh, stop.
You look marvelous.
Yeah.
You do.
Well, thanks.
You do.
It's really humid out.
I know it is.
Can you see it? It's almost like so thick right now. I can see it, like see past you. It almost looks foggy.
That's because I'm breathing heavy right now.
Probably. That actually makes sense.
Oh.
It's typical for you.
Well, I've never really seen you in 4K.
Oh, is that what it is?
No.
4K with glasses on.
Yeah.
Watch out, people. I'm running.
I got 4 eyes, but not 4K glasses.
Anyway.
Look at you.
So anyway,
all right, we better.
Great, and yeah, this is it for the 2022 Is it 2022? Yeah, wow. Isn't it weird? Like sometimes you say the year and you're like, man, like I remember when it was 2000 and something and now it's 2022.
Seems like only last year was 2021, you know?
Yeah, it's crazy how that happens.
Yeah,
Anyway,
it is.
So that's a wrap.